everyone, and welcome to my channel. This week, I would like to share with you my process for creating an oil painting inspired by the mineral Prehnite. This piece of Prehnite was given to me by my friend Ella, and I just have really been fascinated with the beauty of the piece. And as I started researching the interesting history of the piece, or the mineral as well, in order to challenge myself in creating this painting, I wanted to reflect the texture and the colors of Prehnite. So I'm limiting myself to a 4-color palette of titanium white, Prussian blue, Mars black, and yellow ochre. You'll notice there's no green on my palette, and I did that purposefully. I'm also using only 4 brushes, a dagger brush, 2 round pointed brushes, and a blending brush. So you can see my tools are very reduced for my normal process, but I wanted to see if I could mirror the transparent, opaque, I know it's a bit of an oxymoron to say transparent and opaque, but the piece of Prehnite that I have really does reflect both of those qualities. As I was learning more about the piece, I discovered that it is the mineral is calcium aluminum silicate, and it's found in the cavities of eruptive rocks. And it's normally associated with the heart and solar plexus chakra, and many see the stone as one of kindness and compassion. And I do feel that that green color really reflects that idea of heart and kindness. The mineral was first discovered by a Dutch officer in 1774, and Prehnite actually takes the name of Colonel Hendrik von Prehn, which is interesting. It was the first mineral ever named after the person who discovered it. The mineral can be found in South Africa, Germany, the United States, France, India, Italy, and Switzerland, and it's said to have many different metaphysical properties. It's often called a stone of prophecy because it has traditionally been used in connecting with spiritual realms. It's even said that shamans in South Africa use the stone to guide decision making and divination, and that the stone was also used by indigenous peoples in Australia for protection from nocturnal creatures. What I found most interesting in my research, and what I've attempted to reflect in my oil painting, is the connection between Prehnite and lucid dreaming, specifically the connection between meditation and the use of the stone to aid in astral travel and communication with the higher self to attain spiritual knowledge. The connection to minerals in the spiritual world has roots in the Renaissance era, and minerals were often used for various purposes. They were included in curiosity cabinets. They were utilized by alchemists, and even apothecaries would grind stones down to use in medicines and tinctures, or where stones prescribe that stones may be worn on the body for healing and protective purposes. Prehnite was used this way in the Victorian era and was said to improve circulation and urinary tract health. I'm most fond of the Prehnite, which includes the black inclusions, because I really love that interplay between the green and those shocks of dark black. In my own oil painting, as I mentioned, I was really fascinated with that connection to the dream realm and the idea of connecting to the subconscious or the source or the higher self to gain secret knowledge. And so I wanted to capture that moment, that interplay between the dreamer and this figure who is whispering in the dreamer's ear. And I'll leave it up to you as to who this figure is or what this figure is. Is it an angel? Is it the higher self? Is it our conscious? Is it source? I don't know the answer to that question. As a viewer, perhaps you do. in order to reflect the different colors that are found in the Prehnite, as I mentioned, mixed from that 4-color palette. And Mars Black, it blends a little bit more towards blue, and it makes a really beautiful green when it is mixed with the Yellow Ocher. So I use that as a base for this kind of grayish ochre green, and then change the hues and the shades of that green as I went through the painting. What I found most challenging was to mix enough different colors to separate the background from the foreground of these two figures, one figure embracing the sleeper. I did originally have kind of a circle mandala behind the two, but I decided that it was taking away from that focal point that I really wanted to show, and that was that gentle act of communication between the two. As I went in to work on the skin tones, I tried really hard, to keep the facial features more generic, so that we could kind of see ourselves in these figures as well. And using that limited palette, it caused me to really have to think about the shading and how to create form through the shading, and not rely so much on the rosy reds, the colors of the cheeks, the colors of the lips, the colors of the eyes. And so that was a really neat challenge, and I am pleased with the way that this attempt came out, and I learned more for the next time I try something similar. What was most important is that I wanted to show the relaxation, the act of ease, the act of interplay between the two, as I've mentioned, but that it's very calm and it's very soothing in the expressions on the women's faces. I did save the blackest of the black for those final details and the hair. And as I mentioned before, one of the things that I find really fascinating with the Prehnite is that shock of black mineral that's in it as well. And so I wanted to have the women reflect that with the black hair breaking up this green malted background, and just giving it a slight bit of highlight to the hair to show a bit of movement, but that having that dark black, I feel, worked really well in the piece to also bring the women closer to the viewer. Here I am comparing the final painting to my piece of Prehnite, seeing how close I got to the image that I imagined for this piece. And overall, I do feel the painting has many successful elements. I feel like the colors are pretty close, and I had a lot of fun thinking through this painting, researching this mineral, and thinking about its historical importance within this idea of connecting to ourselves spiritually. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. If you have a mineral, crystal, rock, or gem that you would like me to try out, please feel free to leave it down in the comments below. Thank you, everyone. See you soon.